Excited to be here today. Today, I'm going to be talking about breaking panopticism, also algorithmic social engineering. If I control the technology, I can dictate the market. I'll explain what that means. Michel Foucault, a French philosopher in 1975, in their work Discipline and Punish, talked about panopticism. She based it off of a prison design. Right? It was a prison design with a watchtower in the middle of the prison. And this theory was that, by putting the watchtower in the middle, the prisoners would police themselves because they're under surveillance. So physical authority has shifted to psychological authority, right? And over time, their behaviors change, and this causes a term she calls dynamic normalization. So in the digital age, the watchtower has transferred. So through technology, through bots, through fake viral clips, fake accounts, you can police platforms and algorithmically influence society with the technology that you can control. The technology that you can control can dictate the market. We see it across various industries all the time. A lot of people have seen some of my quarrels with the media industry. That's kind of the reason why I started streaming. Some of you have seen my stream and going off on Stephen A. Smith. But exactly, but Stephen A. works for ESPN. ESPN is controlled by Disney. Stephen A. doesn't choose the topics. Somebody chooses them for him. His willingness has made him extremely valuable to these companies, but a lot of these companies and corporations, they meet 4 times a year and talk about amongst various industries how they can socially engineer and influence our minds, right, through the technology that they can control without us really even paying attention and even noticing it. Just like the Michel Foucault theory, where I was talking about the watchtower that is policing the prisoners, bots, comments, positive comments or negative comments could affirm whatever agendas that they want to push. They can create the bots, they can control kind of the approvals or disapprovals of what is in society. Another example is kind of like group thinking. If I control a bunch of platforms, or I control a bunch of accounts, or have a bunch of partners that are all in cahoots with me, I can also socially engineer conversations, start trends, kind of create a herd mentality where you think it's natural, but it's all algorithmically engineered to dictate the market. And then the last one I would say is like the digital dopamine. A lot of us are addicted to social media, we don't even know it, right? The rewarding feeling of getting likes, the rewarding feeling of getting impressions can cause addiction. And the opposite of that can cause the opposite, anxiety and depression. This is all reinforcing the overarching Michel Foucault's theory, the watchtower. And the philosophy is that physical authority has shifted to psychological authority. I was doing media after Celtics practice, and a writer came up to me and was asking me questions about politics and sports. And I just thought I'll just share my thoughts, the things that I learned at Berkeley. And I ended up telling him that sports is used as a mechanism for control. So that's exactly what he titled the article. Jalen Brown says sports is used as a mechanism for control. I gained some support, but mostly I got a lot of backlash. The front office, Danny Ainge at the time, called me into his office and was like, "How could you say this? You're saying sports is used as a mechanism for control, but you just benefited from sports and changed your family generationally." And he's right. And I told him sports can be used to do great things, bring people together, change people's lives, inspire people, motivate, but it also can be used as the opposite. So I told Danny it can be used as a way to distract people from what's really going on in society. There's panopticons, watchtowers, that exist within sports as well, where media training is like a way of programming athletes to think, act, and behave the same. Nothing controversial, nothing political, nothing unsafe. And the people that I admire the most were the exact opposite of that. Muhammad Ali, Bill Russell, Jim Brown, they all use their platforms for something beyond sports. So while I'm here, while I got my platform, those who are listening and those who may be listening in the future back home, I just want to encourage people to be not afraid to be who you are, be proud of where you come from, and to think critically and think for yourself. When I was in high school, I had to make a big decision. I was the #1 player in the country. People would think that's an easy decision to make. It's actually one of the hardest I've ever had to make. Like, as an 18-year-old, you can go to any school in the world that you want to based upon your talent and your ability. How do you narrow it down, right? So, typically most human beings would see like, okay, players like me or people like me, let's see what other people like me, the decisions they made. So that's what I kind of did. A lot of the players that were like me went to Kentucky or Kansas or North Carolina. That was the typical algorithm within a top 5 player, top 5 prospect in the world. So I made a decision that at 18 that if I was going to use my platform, I was going to be in control. So instead, I went to UC Berkeley and explored my educational career versus going to what the algorithm would have preferred me to do.
So first of all, where's the sweet spot between authenticity and strategy? Because we know streaming platforms are made by the same people who are willing to cancel you when you talk about something that that is not going accordingly to what they really want people to know.
When it comes to how I decided to use my platform, I lean in on authenticity more than anything. When I made a decision about how I'm going to use my platform, I'm okay with it.